What is the secret that men need to know to unlock their incredible potential? What is keeping women so frustrated with the men in their life and keeping the men from accelerating their own life? The answer is a simple misunderstanding of a biblical principle I call men make men. Now, let me share with you how God has revealed this truth to me. For the last 35 years, I've been counseling men with pornography, sex addiction, intimacy anorexia, as well as the women who have been devastated and destroyed and traumatized by these behaviors. Now, addictions by themselves keep a soul stuck. They keep them stuck like in the adolescent stage. The way they think, the way they behave is very teenager-ish. These men and their wives, they come for 5-day intensives, okay? And they only have a limited time to address the issues to get a plan for healing. So we're kind of in a tight spot. So week after week, I have had rather, let's say, direct conversations with these men. Some people would say, come to Jesus meetings, okay? And sometimes I even have this with their spouse being present. And sometimes these conversations are through the various videos that we have. Now, their wives say this, and I mean, I've heard this so many times. Dr. Weiss, I have said exactly the same thing that you just said to him for years or sometimes even decades, and you say it one time, and it's like he really hears you? Like, what is up with that? And I mean, they say that with attitude. Like, what's up with that? Like, I don't get it, okay? And you can imagine their frustration if they've been having the same conversation time after time for decades or years, and then they sit in an office and actually see the lights come on in their husband's heart. It's like, oh, he gets it now? Then I have to explain that men make men. Men call men up unlike any woman in their life can. Men don't take excuses. Men don't blame, and they don't expect men not to follow through with what they said to them. If a man says something to me, I expect him to follow through with that. Now, this is a totally different dynamic when I make myself accountable to another man. When men make themselves accountable to another man, it's totally different. It's like something inside of us doesn't want to fail, doesn't want to look bad or weak. And so I try harder if I'm actually accountable to another man. And this is why like support groups for men and women are so powerful. This is also why we at Healing Time call you healers, you sitting on your sofa, you at the gym on the cell phone. I'm calling you healers to start any type of group in your home or in your church. Humans by nature do better in this kind of tribe, and it's really great when it's the same gender, so we can reach the goals that we want to have. Now, even Jesus set out his disciples 2 by 2. Jesus did a man's group every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, teaching his disciples the principles and the practices of the kingdom. He not only taught them, he showed them. And I'm not saying that God can't use a woman, but however, your mom and your wife have a different place in your heart than a man who is calling you up in an area of your life, whether it be fitness. Okay, if your wife says, hey, you're gaining a few pounds, or your mom, it's no big deal. Guy says, you're getting fat. Whoa, whoa, I gotta look at that, right? Or financially calls you up, or calls you up in your prayer life, calls you up to be a better husband or a dad, or just sees your gifting or your calling and says, hey, you need to take responsibility for that. You really have a gift in that area. When a man speaks that to another man, it's different. When men walk through the Men Make Men series, they are exposed to several great ideas. Now remember, to lead a group, all you have to do is be able to push play and let guys fill out the workbook and talk about what you're learning. So every man listening to me, you are qualified to help men understand their uniqueness as being a man. And I really mean this. Men, and I mean everyone listening to me, you can do this. Get some guys at your house on a weekend or an evening or a Saturday. Do it in the church setting if you want to. You don't need permission to disciple men. That's a command from the Bible. That is what Jesus told us to do. Jesus said to go make disciples, not to go sit in a pew. There is no pew ministry in the Bible. Now, this is an easy ministry to start and to do. So ask yourself, am I spending any time making disciples? If your answer is no, then this is the easiest solution to do a Men Make Men group. Just do it for a few weeks. You'll be so glad you did, and you can know that you're making disciples. Now, here's one idea that I find that men find really helpful. In Genesis 2, in verse 5, before God made man, it says, and there was no one to work the ground. You see, man was created for a purpose. The purpose you were created for was before you were made. Okay, be it you're a man or a woman, you have a purpose. God has created you as a solution on earth for a problem that existed before you got here. Your purpose precedes you being created. And all men are given a garden to maintain by their Creator. Your garden might be your vocation, your ministry, but it's definitely your wife and your children. And maybe you have grandchildren. These are your responsibility.